This teacher asked students to draw the future. Put it in a time capsule. 50 years from now, there will be a group of children of the same age. Open it up. A girl is writing desperately on a piece of paper. Very fast. Unfortunately, all she wrote were numbers. No one could read them until the teacher took the paper away. She hadn't finished writing. The capsule was buried in the ground. The girl disappeared. The teacher found her in the utility room. She was still writing. She had worn out 10 fingers. She finally finished it. 50 years later, the capsule was dug out. A boy gets the envelope. He was dumbfounded. In his mind, it's just a few lines of numbers. The boy takes the paper home. His father is a college professor, but he still didn't understand it until he accidentally soiled the paper. Only then did he become curious about the paper. He copied down a series of random numbers. After a few combinations, he looked it up online. It turned out to be the 9/11 incident. It turns out that these numbers were the date and the number of deaths. There was another series of numbers at the end. He didn't know what they stood for. He panicked, copied down all the numbers, starting with the first line. Every time he found one, he drew a mark. His speed got faster and faster. He tried to prove that it was just a coincidence. He failed, except for the last 3 numbers. The disaster hadn't happened yet. Surprisingly, none of them were correct. When he saw the number at the end, he finally stopped. It reads 20081019, followed by a large series of numbers. According to the previous deduction, this series of numbers is the number of deaths, and this time, the number of people is the total world population. He was crazy. The glass fell from his hand. He told his colleagues. The colleague didn't believe him at all. He says there's an accident tomorrow. 81 people will die. The colleague still didn't believe him. He even had a big fight with him. He found the class teacher of the girl. He wanted to know the girl's address because she was the only one who knew the truth about everything, only to learn that she was dead. Oh my God, hopes dashed. The next day arrived. From the early hours of the morning, he was glued to the TV. He wanted to be the first to know if there would be a disaster, but until dawn, there was nothing. On the way to pick up his son from school, the road was particularly crowded. He suddenly saw the car navigation. It said latitude and longitude. He suddenly realized that there were no deciphered numbers. Could be the coordinates and the predicted disaster. It happened on this very same congested highway. He stepped out of the car to find out what had happened, and sure enough, a truck overturned, but no one was killed. No, not this one. But just then, the person in front of him suddenly panicked and fled. He jerked back.